If you walk into a motorcycle dealership today, you are walking into a financial ambush. The sticker price is not even the worst part. When you buy a modern motorcycle, you are not buying a machine. You are buying a depreciating smartphone with an engine, a software subscription you do not own, a data pipeline feeding your riding behavior to insurers, and a platform designed to financially punish you the moment the warranty expires. To understand the loophole, you first have to understand the trap. Look at the dashboard of any motorcycle built after 2020. The analog gauge cluster is gone. The physical odometer knob is gone. The simple backlit LCD that told you your speed and your fuel level is gone. In its place is a large TFT touchscreen bolted to the top of the triple clamp. Manufacturers will tell you this is a premium upgrade. That is a LI. A single cheap glass display module costs dramatically less to manufacture than a full analog instrument cluster with individual mechanical gauges and copper-wired physical controls. This is a corporate cost-cutting measure dressed up as innovation, and it is a ticking time bomb for your wallet. On a 2003 Kawasaki Z1000, if your speedometer failed, you found a replacement at a breaker yard for $30 and bolted it on in 20 minutes. Done. On a modern motorcycle, the instrument cluster is not a gauge. It is the control hub for your riding modes, your traction control, your cornering ABS, and your connected services. When the screen delaminates from vibration or the internal processor fries from a voltage spike, you do not replace a gauge, you replace the entire unit. Dealer price $1,200 to $2,000 for a screen on a motorcycle you already paid $15,000 for. Your bike has been financially totaled by a hardware failure the size of an iPad. But the screens are just the bait. The real trap is running silently in the background every single time you ride. Every motorcycle rolling off a production line today is equipped with a built-in cellular modem and a telematics system that never stops working. You're riding a two-wheel data collection device down every road you take. These systems log your speed, your lean angle, your braking force, and your precise GPS location on every single ride. And the manufacturers are not keeping that data to improve your experience. They are packaging it and selling it. Insurance companies are purchasing behavioral riding profiles directly from manufacturers. Riders across the country are watching their premiums increase, not because they had an accident, but because their own bike reported them for aggressive throttle inputs on a Tuesday evening. You are paying $15,000 for the privilege of being surveilled and financially penalized by a machine sitting in your own garage. And the engineering underneath all of it is just as disposable as the screen on top. To hit government emissions targets and satisfy insurance group ratings, manufacturers are shrinking engines and compensating with complexity. Highly stressed parallel twin configurations with chain-driven counterbalancers, ride-by-wire throttle systems with 3 control modules between your right hand and the injectors, cornering ABS platforms that require annual software calibration to function correctly. These drivetrains are engineering grenades with a 60,000-mile fuse. The entire modern motorcycle market is a trap, but there is a way out. The pre-wire loophole targets a specific window of motorcycle history. Experienced mechanics call it the golden era of two-wheeled engineering, roughly 2000 to 2015. Why 2000? By the turn of the millennium, fuel injection had matured to the point where it was genuinely reliable. Cold starts worked. Power delivery was smooth and predictable. Modern frame geometry and suspension technology became standard across mid-range and performance models. These bikes handle as well as anything on a showroom floor today. But because they were built before manufacturers embedded cellular modems, encrypted electronic control units, and subscription-gated performance maps, they carry none of the digital poison, no over-the-air updates that change how your motorcycle behaves without telling you. No TFT screen that bricks your riding modes when the processor fails, no cellular modem reporting your location to a data broker, no parts authentication system that rejects an aftermarket sensor because it lacks a manufacturer serial number. A physical key turns a mechanical ignition. A throttle cable connects your right hand directly to the carburetor or injector body. A sensor is just a sensor. You get all of the reliability of modern engineering with none of the surveillance, none of the subscriptions, and none of the fragile electronics that have made new motorcycles into financial liabilities disguised as products. Open any used bike marketplace and search for a Honda CB600F Hornet from 2003 to 2010. Four-cylinder engine, descended directly from race-bred hardware, no ride-by-wire, no TFT screen, a simple analog clock face that tells you everything you need and nothing you do not. These engines are known for clearing 100,000 kilometers on nothing more than regular oil changes and valve clearance checks. Parts are available from dozens of independent suppliers at a fraction of dealer prices. If you want a naked middleweight, look for the first-generation Kawasaki Z750 or Z1000 built between 2003 and 2012, torquey inline-4 engines with conventional throttle cables, straightforward fuel injection you can tune with a basic power commander, and a parts ecosystem so well established that almost nothing is hard to find or expensive to replace. If you want a twin, the Suzuki SV650 built between 1999 and 2012 is the ultimate loophole motorcycle. It is a V-twin that is almost impossible to kill. Mechanically simple enough that a first-time wrench can learn on it, and experienced enough to satisfy riders who have been doing this for 20 years. Insurance group ratings are low. Running costs are minimal. Because it was sold in enormous numbers, every breaker yard in the country has shelves full of spares. These are not compromise bikes. These are the last honest motorcycles built at scale. Here's how you execute the loophole. You do not finance. You save $4,000 to $6,000 in cash. You avoid dealerships with banners and 84-month payment calculators. You buy directly from private sellers. You look for specific physical indicators that tell you immediately whether the bike is what you want. A metal key that turns a physical ignition barrel, an analog gauge cluster, or a simple single-color LCD with no touchscreen functionality, a conventional twist throttle with a cable you can actually see and trace with your hand, a gear lever connected to a real mechanical linkage, not a quick shifter module with its own control unit. These are not inconveniences. These are the signs of a machine that belongs to you, not to the manufacturer's software team. When you buy a pre-wire motorcycle, you are not just saving money on the purchase price. You are escaping the entire ecosystem that modern manufacturers have built around extracting ongoing revenue from you after the sale. No subscription performance maps, no cellular modem filing insurance reports, no diagnostic software paywall standing between your mechanic and your engine, no planned obsolescence timer counting down in an encrypted ECU. You sever the pipeline completely. Smart riders are not buying 20-year-old motorcycles because they cannot afford new ones. They are buying them because they have done the mathematics the dealership does not want them to do. A $5,000 cash purchase of a well-maintained 2006 Honda Hornet versus a $15,000 financed 2026 equivalent. The Hornet has no monthly payments. Insurance is a fraction of the rate on a modern bike because repair costs are predictable and low. Any independent mechanic in the country can service it without a software license. Parts are cheap, available, and interchangeable across multiple model years. The 2026 bike costs you $280 a month for 6 years, plus climbing insurance premiums fed by your own telematics data, dealer-only service at $180 an hour, and a subscription to access the performance modes you thought you were buying outright. The old bike is a mechanical asset. You own it. You can sell it, modify it, repair it, or pass it on. The new bike is a liability with a seat. The manufacturers are counting on you not running those numbers until it is too late. Find your pre-wire motorcycle, pay cash, and never agree to terms of service that turn your riding into someone else's data. If this opened your eyes, subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments what is the best motorcycle from before 2015 that you have ever owned or ridden.